Hello, I'm Ethan Wagner.
And I'm Griffin Wagner. We're here from the Ohio Young Birders Club. We're interviewing Neil Hayward about his big year of birding.
So Neil, who inspired you to be a birder?
I guess that would have to be my parents. I grew up in the UK, as you can probably tell from my accent, and they were very good about putting feeders up in the backyard. So we always had birds coming to the feeders, and we had field guides, so I would always be checking out what the birds were.
And then what finally got you to a big year?
It was never planned. So the title of my blog was The Accidental Big Year because it was entirely accidental. And I guess I started the year birding and I travelled to Arizona and thought, wow, I'm doing really well. And then I saw a couple of other rare birds and I thought, wow, if I were ever doing a big year, this would be the year to do it. And I guess that kind of idea just kind of escalated.
So with all those miles, did you actually circumnavigate the globe?
So apparently the equator, I looked this up before, the equator is 24,900 miles. And I drove just over 50,000. So I drove twice around the world. And I flew about 8 times around the world. So in total of driving and flying, that about 10 times.
Okay, so did you ever come to regret doing the big year?
Almost every day. And I think that's why I was so reluctant to do it in the first place. A big year means a lot of commitment. You know, you have to be prepared to chase everything and, you know, to bird almost every day, or to be thinking about birding or traveling to places where you can bird every day. And it meant that I couldn't really make any plans. It was very difficult for my girlfriend last year in terms of planning anything because I could never know when I would be home or away. So I was kind of always regretting that because I thought if I do it, then it has to be like 100%. I have to be really committed.
What was your favorite bird?
I get asked that question a lot, and it's really hard because in a big year, every bird is new. So like some of those birds are live birds that I've never seen before. A lot of the birds are birds that I've seen either in this country or the UK. And like every one of them, they're all equal in terms of like how they count towards a big year. And everyone was exciting. Like I was out in the field every day, you know, most hours, and I had enough time to really, I guess, stop and enjoy those birds. So like every one of them was special.
So what was the hardest bird for you to find?
Black rail was difficult, one of the hardest birds on the ABA list, and I was lucky that I did a rail walk at Anahuac in Texas, and we flushed a black rail and it flew right up in front of us. Otherwise, that's a really difficult bird to see.
Did you find any other birds along the way to finding that rail and such?
No, because I think I'd left the mountain quail until pretty late in the year. So, like most of the birds that I needed, especially in California, I'd already seen. So it was just like I was just going after one bird, and I think that's what made it frustrating because I was just focusing on that one bird at that point and not seeing it for a long time.
What was the rarest bird you saw?
So there were 3 birds that were firsts for the ABA, so they'd never before been seen in North America. That was common redstart, which is a common bird in Europe and sort of Western Asia. Rufous neck wood rail, which is a South American bird, a Central American bird, and Eurasian sparrowhawk. So those were 3 birds that were so rare that they're not in the field guide. It was the first time they'd ever been seen.
Do you have any recommendations for young birders?
I think keep at it. I think it's such an amazing hobby, and I think you can spend your whole life birding, and there's still more to learn. When I grew up, it was a fairly nerdy thing to do, and nerdy in those days was probably a bad thing. But I think nowadays people think it's pretty cool. I hope it's pretty cool. I feel really proud as an adult now to be a birder. I think in terms of learning birds, then people are always excited about the rare birds and seeing rare birds. And I think the best way to find rare birds and to appreciate rare birds is really to understand and know the common birds, because then you can spot things that are different. So I think read as much as you can and just go birding. But I think it's a great way of learning biology and meteorology and geography, and there's just so much you can learn, I think, from birding.
Well, thank you, Mr. Hayward. Thank you for taking the time to talk to us, and have a great program tonight.
Thanks very much. Pleasure meeting you.